The first sign of your manifestation, the first sign that your manifestation is going from a dream into your mind, an idea and a feeling in your mind to a reality, is the emotional manifestation. We're saying that your desire first exists as a vibration. So your job is to understand that it's a vibration. So the absence can be kind of put into a box where you're not always going to open it. The absence is not going to bother you because you understand now that it's not absent, it's becoming. And we understand what that sounds like. We're telling you, humans who love physical stuff, we know that in the time that when you feel the desire, when you feel that sense that yes, I'm onto great things, you want the great things to be there, right then and there. You want your manifestations now. We know you want these thoughts to turn into things. You want your manifestations, we know, but you have to love the process. You have to understand that there is a process, that you can't. Law of attraction will just let you jump to another frequency because that would be fatal to your entire universe. You have to gradually make your way there. And we're telling you, it's a vibrational journey. It's not a physical journey. It's a thought journey. And we're not even talking about you getting so obsessed with your thoughts that you're so hyper fixated on exactly what you're thinking, because it's not really about what you're thinking anyways, because you can think a thought. That's why your words don't have that much power. It's the feeling behind it. It's how you're actually feeling behind it. Whether you're actually feeling the vortex, whether you're under the influence of source and that's where the words are coming from, or whether you're under the influence of fear and you're trying to use the words to cover up for the fact that you don't actually believe in yourself. So you use your affirmations to make up for your insecurity. But the thing is, your universe hears your insecurity. The universe, law of attraction, doesn't hear your words. It responds to your vibration. So that means that there is this vibration thing. You can't walk around here with all these manifestation results that you have, and some of them not being at all what you want them to be, and not realize that there's something wonky going on it in your vibration. And we're not big proponents of getting down to the reason exactly why something happened, because we know that makes things bigger. Well, what we're really saying is here is for you to own your point of attraction, for you to be not honest with yourself, but for you to own it, for you to be like, yes, I'm the creator of my reality, and in me being the creator, I'm emitting a frequency. And we don't want you to beat yourself up for it. We want you to own your frequency, because that you right now in this moment, the path is already happening. You're making your journey to all of your desires. And so your set point is right now. Where you are right now is your set point. So you have to know where you are, because if you don't know where you are, if you're lying to yourself about where you are, if you're trying to make big jumps and putting a smile on your face and pretending that things are better than they are, then do you know what happens? You get to the other side, you go through life, you make it to the next day, and what you want still doesn't come. It makes you confused because you're so used to words, you're so used to action. But receiving a thought and thinking a thought are two different things. Receiving a thought is what you did in step one of creation, because all of your desires, there is a creation process that is going on, and it's 5 steps. And step 1 is you ask for it. Life causes you to ask. That's involuntary. And step 2, it's given to you by source. Source gives it to you. Source becomes a vibrational version of it in the form of a vortex. It's all there in your vortex and is emanating that frequency for you, so you can understand your guidance system. So you know how to make your way towards it, because you're either making your way towards it or you're making your way away from it in the opposite direction. That's what your emotions are about. Positive means you're going towards it, and going towards the opposite means you feel negative. And so now you understand your emotions. And step 3 is that's where you receive a thought. That's what we're saying. Your job is to receive a thought. You're done thinking, you're done efforting. Your job is to now receive. But in order to receive, you have to understand two things: that the emotion that you feel means that you're going to manifest what you want, means that what you want is going to come. But you still have to go along the path, because there's no secret to manifestation. There's no club that you're now a part of. As you understand this, you just understand law of attraction in a way that many don't. You understand that you're a creator. You understand, above all, that you have a point of attraction that you can fix. And fix isn't the best word, but you can tune to it. You can tune your frequency. And as you're tuning your frequency, not with your thoughts, but how you feel, because we don't want you to be thought on. We want you to work on the level of your emotions. We want you to worry about your emotions. We want you to fix how you feel. We want you to fix how you feel about this subject. We want you to tune how you feel about this subject, change how you feel about this subject, not fix, change. We want you to adjust your frequency, because we know that you're going to receive thought. You can't be happy. You can't go general in the way that we're saying, because when we say go general, we mean go back away from the specifics and find your connection. Because do you know what happens when you find your connection? Because momentum is going to happen no matter what. That's the thing that's really interesting, is that, and it's not that interesting because it's just a natural course of your reality. It's about who you really are. Momentum is going to happen no matter what. But we're just saying, in order to get control of momentum and law of attraction are the same thing. When we're talking about law of attraction, we're talking about momentum. It's the subject of momentum that we're really talking about. So what we're really saying is you can't turn law of attraction off. Momentum is always happening. So we want you to be able to because we want you to be able to know exactly what you're manifesting. We want you to be in the driver's seat, and the way that you do that is by how you feel. Because when you go more specific than you're able to handle, the specifics make the energy go faster. But if you're specific on a subject that if you have resistance and you get more and more specific, that energy is going to get really fast and it's going to feel very uncomfortable. And we're saying you have to go back, you have to step back away, because we're not here talking about problem solving, because there's no action that you need to take. It's about the mind. It's about your mentality. It's about how you feel. That's the best way to say it. It's about how you feel. Really, it is about how you feel. So as you step away from the specifics, meaning you're talking about, okay, this didn't manifest, this is not working. This subject, let's take an example. Maybe the subject is not really working out for you. Whatever the subject is, placeholder, put your place in it, put the subject in it of your liking. And then you take a step back. You're like, yeah, I really don't like this subject. And it makes me feel, so sad. It makes me feel so upset, frustrated, all those, good negative emotions. And then you think for a second, you're like, okay, now that I owned where I was on this frequency, I owned where I was on the subject, how do I normally feel? Like, I normally feel really good. I know what I'm doing here. I know I have my vortex feeling. I'm in the vortex more of the time. I have the dream, so I don't need the physical version right now because I have the dream, and I'm okay. Even if it takes a long time, I'm okay with it because I have the dream. I'm so okay with life. But and so as you step away and you go back to the general connection that you can always find, that requires going general sometimes, you're back in the driver's seat. You're back where now when law of attraction shines is light on you, you're getting more of what you want. So the momentum of what you want is going faster, faster, faster. So this is a thing that's really interesting. You can't be happy. You can't talk about what you know. You can't know this stuff and not have your thoughts grow, because this is the thing. Momentum is expanding your thoughts. So if your thoughts are not expanding, meaning when you think about money, you're like, yeah, money's simple. Money's easy. Like, I understand money. It's cool. When you're in those easier places and that thought doesn't grow, then what that means is you're adding resistance into the mix. And if you're not into owning where you are emotionally, owning where you are vibrationally, then you're gonna spend years of your life thinking that you're doing really good on the subject, thinking that you're on your way towards something that you want, when in reality you never get there because you are a match to it. You are a match to the opposite. You're a match to the absence, and that all could have been avoided. But here's the thing: is that you're never really doing anything wrong. You can't make mistakes because you're a creator. You can't make a mistake because your inner being will never see it as a mistake. Yes, you could put more in the vortex, but we're just saying this is a subject. What we're really talking about now is receiving. We're talking about your ability to receive. So what we're saying is that when you're in, thing is, you're mostly in the vortex, so it's not really hard to talk about this. You're in the vortex, but what do you do once you're in the vortex? You start to receive. But the thing about receiving is that you want to get right to the manifestation. You want to get right to the good stuff because you know this. You understand the science. You're like, okay, universe, I got you. Wink, wink. Like, all I have to do is just feel good about it. And once I feel good about it, I'm gonna get there. We're saying the feeling good is what you really want, and as you feel good, now the path will start to unravel. And do you know what the path is? Do you know what happens when you are a match to your manifestations? Thoughts start to come, and those thoughts are the path. But the thing is, if you're not in love with the path or in love with the journey and you just want to get right over there, you're going to short circuit yourself. You're not going to be able to, because you have to follow the path. You have to follow the path. And sometimes you don't want to follow the path because you want your manifestation now. And we know what that seems like, because what we're saying is emotion is literally not a physical thing. And we're not saying that it's a physical manifestation. We're saying it's an emotional manifestation. We're saying that the emotion isn't the physical manifestation that you want, but it's still a manifestation. It's not even a promise. It's your sign that the manifestation will come. So your job now is to begin receiving thought, because you're a receiving mechanism, but you're also a transmuting mechanism, because you can't think a thought and receive a thought at the same time. So when you're thinking a thought, you're not receiving a thought. And we're telling you need to receive a thought, and you're always receiving. But what influence are you under? What receiving? What channel are you receiving from? And so if you know you're feeling good, if you go general, you cannot go general and find your alignment and find your connection, find your alignment to this source energy, find this alignment to your inner being who has everything that you want. So as you now take the time to go general, and you step back, and you're like, okay, cool, like I'm getting back connected to my source energy, like I'm gonna leave the subject alone. Those thoughts are going to start to grow, because what we're really talking about here is momentum. We're saying that your thoughts should be going, and if they're not going, then what's happening is that you're putting a stick in your wheel and you're not owning up to it. And because you're not owning up to it, you don't know when you're doing it. We're saying negative emotion is a good thing. You want to clap when you have negative emotion. You want to cheer, because that's what that thing that you're doing. You're catching yourself red-handed in that exact moment when you feel negative emotion. And we would just want you to be really sensitive to it, because it's easy to stop when you know when you're doing it, because when it gets really big, then you're like, what am I doing wrong? And we're saying it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that you're not creating with your vibration, you're thinking a thought. And we'll give you an example of this. So here you are, right? And you got up, you meditated, and you're thriving. You understand all this stuff. You feel the vortex. You're like, you know how to get into the vortex. It's actually really easy for you to get into the vortex. In fact, you know what the vortex is, you know your source energy, you know who your source energy is, you know that you are source energy, you know how to connect to that source energy, and you know what it looks like and what it feels like. So there you are, right? And then the thought comes, I'm going to be really, really rich. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to be really, really rich. And then instead of letting that thought go, you're thinking a thought. You're jumping right to the gun. You're like, yeah, I'm going to have a lot of money. I'm going to have a lot of money. I'm going to be able to pay everything. And while it sounds good, right? It doesn't feel good. Those words, those thoughts are empty emotionally, because your job is to think and feel. Your job is to think and feel. You have to continue to think and feel. And that's your work, because you're on the path right now. And this journey because here's the thing, you have a lot of desires, you really do, but it's not the fact that you have a lot of desires, because when you're in the vortex, all of these desires are things that are manageable, meaning you want more and more and more. It's not that we're not talking about having a lot on your plate and just focusing on a few things. What we're really talking about is getting connected, because when you get connected, then there's no scattered energy, because the thing about scattered energy is split energy. We're really talking about your split energy. So that's why it feels like you have all these things that are brewing, but nothing is really popping, because and then you think, oh well, it's maybe because I have too many subjects going on, and it's better for me to focus. Maybe that is, but ultimately it's because you have split energy. So then nothing, since you have split energy on this subject and all the subjects, then nothing gets moving forward. So now what we're saying is that if you can get general, then now you can get to that place where the thoughts will start occurring into your mind. You'll start receiving thoughts, and meditation is the best way to help you tell the difference between a thought that you thought and a thought that you received. Because a thought that you received, and this is the thing that's hardest for our human friends to understand, is that they're source energy and that they're connected to source energy, and that connection to source energy is actually who they are, and that's actually why they came here. And as you're here for this source energy connection, source is here with them, thinking the same thoughts, because you're so used to source being perfect and you not being perfect and you living up to it. But really, source is here. You're leading source on a journey. You're the reason why source is expanding. So when you get connected to source, right, and source is literally just having thoughts about your life, you get confused, because you're like, then I must not be receiving source. And we're saying it's not about the content of the thought. Think about it, well, how did I feel before the thought came? Because if I felt good, if I was in alignment, if I was going general, and I felt the connection of who I am, and then the thought comes into my mind, that thought came from source. But like we said, it's a path. You're not gonna just get right to the millions of dollars, because there's a gestation process that you need to get ready for your desire. So that's why the receptive and also receiving thoughts are so important, because when you're obsessed with receiving thoughts, meaning you're spending your entire day receiving thoughts, because that's the joy of life. You came here to be led along this treasure hunt, and your inner being was one who'd be giving you these thoughts, feeding them to you from the vortex. So as you're here, right, then you know what happens? You get led onto the path. And that's what we're saying. Don't be so obsessed with the manifestations of physical versions, because you can't have them right now. You're not ready for that. What you're ready for is the next thought, the next thought, the next thought, the next thought. And what we're saying is that you're going to be, because here's the thing, imagine it, because our human friends, especially friends who are interested in this work and just any work in general about manifesting what they want, they love a code. They want the secret. What's that one thing that I can do that can have everything that I want? And we're saying it's not like that, because if there was one thing, then all of you would have figured it out by now, because most of you are in the vortex. So the thing is, if there was that one thing that all of you did that just made everything that you want come, you would run out of things to want. Your things would come and you'd be like, what am I supposed to do now? Because I can have anything that I want. So the journey is not fun anymore, because it's just what I want and it just comes to me. I think of it and just there it is in my lap, and there's no fun in that nature. And we're saying, yeah, because first of all, you're expanding really fast. You're expanding faster than reality. And so you can't look to reality for your new expansion. You have to look to your inner being. You have to become forward feeling. And what we're really talking about today, the thing that will make the most difference in your experience now is meditation, yes, but also receiving thoughts and allowing the thoughts to grow, and not expecting the manifestation right now in the sense where you don't need it right now to be happy. Because friends, just be easy on yourself. Make light of this work. Become friends with your own inner thoughts and dialogues. Make most of your thoughts about things that feel good to you. Make your job primarily to feel good, because we know no matter what, the best way to go general, you're going to get really good at getting general, because ultimately all of you are unconditional lovers. You know how to feel good even when the conditions are not good. You know how to feel good just because you want to. You know how to do this. You know how to do this work. And now your job is to receive more. You deserve to receive, because you've created this amazing vortex, and now it's time for you to receive. So yes, continue daydreaming, leave reality alone, and go off and drift off into your mind and tune into what's already being created for you, what has already been created for you. Because when you're daydreaming, you're receiving the same way when you're sleeping, because in the daydream you're receiving. The daydream, you're not thinking thoughts, you're receiving. It's like when you go to sleep, when you're sleeping, right? The transmitting of your brain is off. You're not offering a signal anymore. You're not offering a vibrational output that the universe is responding to. You're just, the transmission is asleep, and only the receptive piece of your mind is open. So that's why you can dream, because you're receiving. And when you're in your dream, you're not thinking the thoughts, you're not thinking every single piece, you're receiving, you're just receiving. And so we want you to be awake and dreaming. We want your life to be about receiving, because what you want is there for you, but now it's time to receive. But you have to love the path just as much as you love the manifestation, because you are a creator. You came here to create. You came here to think and feel and to craft these thought pathways, because that's your job. Your job is to craft these thought pathways, because that was the fun of your life, was to jump from one thought to the next, because it's like a magnet. Law of attraction is. And then be led to what you want and be like, wow, the journey was so fun, because the whole time I was in on it, I was receiving thought. And that's what true worthiness is. True worthiness is following the thought pathways, is trusting the universe, is understanding who you are, using your guidance system, and being led right to what you want, and knowing that you did it. That's worthiness.